In the previous lesson, we looked at the scale tone triads in the key of D major. We did them on the top set of strings with the third on top. So we had D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G and A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, and D. In blue I have the D here. You recognize your D major. E minor is the second chord. I've put it in pink so you can distinguish, and it's not just a bunch of dots all over the guitar. You see that minor shape of a D minor shape moved up to E minor. At the 5th fret, spanning from 5 to 7, is the F sharp minor. Back to a normal triangle on the pink there at 7, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished. What we noticed about that is the diminished chord looks like the major chord if you move the root up a fret. It's also a minor chord if you move the 5 down a fret. Either way you end up with a 12, 14, 12. And then the D. And I said we could do these on the other strings too. So let's move to the second set of strings and do the same thing in A. First of all, you would want to know your scale. Starting on A, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. You've done these one string scales for some time now, so you have A, B, C sharp, D, half step, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Frets 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 14. You know what an A looks like. In these triads, we're not playing the open strings, we're only playing those 3 notes on those 3 strings. But you can recognize the A shape. You also know what an A minor looks like. We won't do A minor, but we would move that up 2 frets to a B minor. 2 more frets to a C sharp minor. So A major, whole step to B minor, whole step to C sharp minor, half step, whole, whole, half to the D major, the 4 chord, whole step to E major, the 5 chord, whole step to F sharp minor, the 6 chord. At the 13th fret, we need the G sharp diminished. So here we can look at 2 different things. We could say it's like having a major chord where you move the root up to G sharp, so that would be a 12, 13, 12. A little triangle that looks like these old D chords, but on this set of strings it's diminished. Or you could say it's like the minor chord where the 5 is flatted back to the 12. Once again, either way, you get 12, 13, and 12 for the G sharp diminished, and 14 is the A. So there's your scale. We're looking at major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished major. Again, I often will want to play these with bars. 4 and 5 are D and E. Diminished, I'm barring the 12 and adding the 13 on the 3rd string. And A. A, B minor, C sharp minor, D, E, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, and A, G sharp, F sharp, E, and D, C sharp minor, B minor, and A. All of the rules we talked about last time apply again. This chord has the root in the middle of the voicing, with the 5, the E under it, and the 3, the C sharp above it. That means when we move up our whole step to the next chord tone, it's 5, F sharp is under it. The D note, there are not D sharps but D naturals in the key of A, as we see here, is lower by a fret than it would have been if it were major. So there you get this minor shape. This minor shape applies to both the B and the C sharp chord. So C sharp has a G sharp 5 under it and an E off to the left. That's its minor third. The D chord is only a half step above the C sharp. It's got an A and an F sharp as the third. So you can see these shapes applying as we go, and you can see where the 5 and the 3 are and how they're adjusting. We're going to do that again now on the next set of strings, the E. So you get the same scale, whatever note you start on, even if you don't know the notes, you know the pattern. So we got our root, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We know there are 4 sharps in E, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. So E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. Exactly the same relationships that we saw in A. On D, I did it at the 3rd fret because that's on the 2nd string. It's 1 fret higher than it will be with these ones. So you know what an E chord looks like. Again, we're not playing all 6 strings of the E. We're only playing the 3 notes we're holding on this 3rd set of strings, string 3, 4, and 5. E minor has this finger removed. People think that that's what's happening. They think there are fewer notes in the chord, but that's not the case. This note has lowered by a fret. So it's gone from 1st fret to 0. Therefore, if I moved E up and made it F sharp, but wanted it to be minor, I'd draw that note back. So that's this image. That'll go on our minor chords, F sharp and G sharp. A and B are the 4 and the 5. They'll be majors again, just like this E chord. So it's 7 and 9, A and B. Right in the middle of our scale are the 2 majors. C sharp is minor again. D sharp at the 13, just like G sharp was in the other key, is going to look like what would have happened if we raised the root to the D sharp. So there's the major shape, 11, 12, 12, and raise the root to 13. Or we've moved the whole chord to the 13, flatted the 3 to the 11, and the 5 to the 12. And then we have E at 14, 14, and 13. So we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished major, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished major, diminished minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, diminished E. Five root 3. 5 root flat 3 for minor. Whole step, another minor with the flat 3. Half step, 3 raised, 5 root major 3. A major, B major, whole step up to C sharp minor, flat the 3. Whole step up to D sharp diminished, flat the 5. Half step to E. Half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. You'll notice another thing here. If this is the minor chord, F sharp minor, 4, 4, and 2, why, you already knew that in your big bar chord. You've got a root here at a 2, but here's your 4, 4, and 2, and then the bar. Same thing with G sharp. A is major. Notice this. Here's a 5, then 7, 7, 6, and then 5s with the bar. 7, 7, 6. You can play those just with these triads. And just for fun, you can actually strum the A's and B's. This is a technique used by lots of bands. U2 uses this, where you move from the E. All these notes apply in the E chord. Just for a cool effect, they keep strumming while they move this into the A. So that puts A over an E note and puts a B note in it, which is a 2, so it's an A2. Once your ear likes it, you can move it to B. You're starting to hear some crunch, but it's really kind of pretty. So the B chord has its own B note here, but now this E, which is the 4, it's not a sus because it's going to clash against the D major, the D sharp. Those ringing notes sound really nice under these chords. Because they work, you could even try the G sharp minor, for instance. A, B, C sharp minor. Obviously those are not exactly triads anymore once we get the open strings and we get some different tensions on them, but it's a really nice effect, and our ear really does kind of gravitate toward that. It recognizes the shape moving along and holds on to that, and it recognizes the open strings and allows the two to work together. The last thing we could do is take this E chord, move it to the last set of strings to a chord you don't recognize. This is a B. It's the exact same E chord, move down one string, down a fourth to the B. So we have the B, its fifth, the F sharp, and its third, the D sharp. B major, C sharp minor, D sharp minor, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A sharp diminished, and B. Exact same fingerings as we saw here, but moved onto the lower string. So it's B chords. Or the key of B, sorry. I won't do those right now, they're identical. So your fourth and third set of strings are the same because there are only 3 notes with the same tuning. Talk to you guys later. Bye.